great for rising.
The roof is on fire.
Nottoway Plantation. I'm reading from an article on the advocate.com site. The link is in the description. It reads, the historic Nottoway Resort in White Castle, a former plantation home and the largest remaining antebellum mansion in the U.S. South, burned to the ground Thursday as flames engulfed the 160-year-old building and its storied and painful past resort. Did you hear that? Now, I'm saying this, Lily Bell's saying this. Did you hear they're calling this a resort? I mean, a resort. A resort is a place that is a popular destination for vacation or recreation, all which is frequent for a particular purpose. Well, I guess based on the definition, it is a resort now, huh? And it says former plantation. A plantation, according to Cambridge Dictionary, is a large farm, especially in a hot part of the world, on which a particular type of crop is grown. Let's see what the root says about Nottoway Plantation. Reading from the root, the link is in the description. Although generations have passed since the American Civil War, slavery's past still taunts Black Americans in the former Confederate flags and Southern plantations. In fact, there remains hundreds of plantations in the American South, many which are still privately owned by descendants of slave masters. That's why Black folks celebrated when news of Nottoway Plantation burning broke headlines on Thursday, May the 15th. But the truth is, this was one of the hundreds of plantations still connecting America to the skeletons in her closet. So here's a history lesson on 15 Southern plantations where the most brutal chattel slavery occurred. Now, this is Lily Bell. The root talks about 15. I'm going to do something on the rest of the plantation at a later date. But right now, I'm going to focus on Nottoway. Now, listen to what it says here now. It says there's a history lesson on 15 Southern plantations where the most brutal chattel slavery occurred. So that means the fact that Nottoway is on this list, that means, Nottoway. The fact that Nottoway, maybe if I said Nottoway in a place else, sorry about that. It's actually Nottoway. But the fact that Nottoway Plantation is on this list. As a matter of fact, it's number 1 on the list. So I'm back to the root. Nottoway Plantation was built by enslaved Africans in 1859. The property's main house, located in White Castle, Louisiana, was the largest antebellum mansion in the U.S. South until it burned to the ground on Thursday, according to the Advocate. By 1860, a sugar planter, John Hampton Rudolph, owned Nottoway and 155 enslaved Black people. Although the Civil War ended, freeing Americans in 1865, life at Nottoway remained the same for years to come. According to the website, in 1860, Nottoway Plantation had 155 enslaved people. The plantation owner, Randolph, acquired the enslaved individuals as part of his land holdings. These enslaved people lived in 42 cabins and were the backbone of the plantation operation. Nottoway Plantation was undeniably brutal and dehumanizing for enslaved people. These are some of the brutalities done to enslaved Black humans on Nottoway Plantation. Physical violence and punishment. Whippings. Enslaved people on Nottoway Plantation were routinely whipped for even minor offenses, and sometimes simply at the whim of the overseer or owner. Other torture. Beyond whipping, enslaved individuals on Nottoway Plantation faced various mutilations and imprisonments, overwork and exhaustion. Enslaved people on Nottoway Plantation were forced to work long hours under harsh conditions, leading to exhaustion, injury, and even death. Inadequate living conditions. Enslaved people on Nottoway Plantation were often housed in cramped, unsanitary quarters, lacking basic necessities like proper food, clothing, and bedding. Psychological and emotional abuse. Dehumanization. Enslaved people on Nottoway's plantation were treated as property, not as human beings, and were subjected to constant dehumanization, undermining their sense of self-worth and identity. Family separation. On Nottoway's plantation, slave owners frequently separated families through sale or forced migration, causing immense emotional distress and disrupting familial bonds. Sexual exploitation. Enslaved women were particularly vulnerable to sexual abuse on Nottoway's plantation. They were vulnerable to sexual abuse and rape by slave owners and overseers with little to no legal recourse. Constant fear. The threat of violence on Nottoway's plantation, punishment, and family separation created an atmosphere of constant fear and anxiety for enslaved people on Nottoway's plantation. Denial of basic rights and freedoms, lack of autonomy. Enslaved people had no control over their lives or bodies, lacking basic freedoms such as freedom of movement, assembly, and education. Legal disenfranchised. Enslaved people on Nottoway's plantation were denied legal rights and protection, making them vulnerable to abuse and exploitation. Forced labor. Enslaved people on Nottoway's plantation were compelled to work without pay, contributing to the wealth and property and power of slave owners. The institution of slavery on Nottoway's plantation was inherently brutal, inflicting immense suffering on enslaved people through physical, psychological, and emotional abuse, along with the denial of basic rights and freedom.
The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, let the mother burn, mother burn. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, let the mother burn.
Ancestors, you waited a long time to burn Nottoway plantation to the ground. Why did you do it? A Nat Turner Runner production. Lock and load. Lily Bell. Be encouraged.